What up, bro? Spider-Man Miller. Yo, check this out. The Dart Zone Desperado, a double-action 6-round pistol. Let's get into it.
Included with the Desperado is the blaster itself and darts.
External overview of the blaster. Starting up at the front, there is, of course, no instruct barrel lug. This is a Dart Zone blaster. Up above, we do have the iron sight, which corresponds with the rear 2 iron sights. And they are a pretty decent sight picture. Okay, but eh. And then back behind, we do have the 6-round cylinder, which can just be front-loaded very simply. It goes in very smoothly. Giggity goo. And then down below, we do have the trigger. The trigger pull is actually pretty decent. And again, this is a double action blaster. So to fire, you pull the trigger. And it's a pretty easy trigger pull. I've had a few fitting issues because of it, just because you have to deliberately pull it back because this is what rotates the cylinder, but it works really well. And then down to the grip. The grip is overall pretty comfy. It's an actually really decently comfortable grip. It's just the problem is the trigger is so big that it is a little bit on the uncomfortable side, but it fits my hand well, so that's actually pretty good. Up above, again, like I said, we do have the rear iron sight, and then back, this is where the spring is housed, and there is no way to actually open this up and take the spring out, so it just kind of sits back there, just sits back there. That's an external overview. Let's see this thing fire. Starting off to include the wall flare darts. One-handed shooting. Now testing some lead darts. Well, firing the Desperado is very fun. Like I said, this is a very fun pistol. Like I said, I did have a few feeding issues, and it's mostly just due to the trigger because they got this to shoot as powerful as they could. And the problem with these kind of triggers is you always have to be very deliberate because this is what rotates the cylinder and what fires the dart. But if you do it too loosely, you might accidentally rotate or just dry fire like I just did. Don't do that, please. But put this thing up on my chronograph, and with waffle head darts, I was getting an average of about 55 feet per second. However, that might be a little lower than what I've seen. I've seen a lot of these shoot about 70 FPS. I think I might have broken mine in a little too much, but also there's a reason why it shoots a little soft and why I can also explain a little bit of accuracy issues. But to correctly compare, I put elite darts over the chronograph, and I got an average of about 66 feet per second, which was a lot better. But again, there's a little dart peg up here. This is what prevents it from firing half-line darts. However, if you remove this piece, hopefully the camera can pick that up, but if you remove this piece, you are actually able to, one, increase your performance, but also increase your accuracy. It's very easy to remove. My buddy Brickstores227 has already done it to his, and his fires really hard and really accurate. So that is all the objective information I can provide in this blaster. Not in my personal opinion. Overall, I love this blaster. I personally think this is one of the best sidearms we've had in a while. Now, I do have a few complaints. You know me, I gotta complain. The trigger is really my only big complaint. It makes the whole grip a little uncomfortable. However, I do think that you could shave away this trigger. Don't quote me to that. This is just me kind of thinking in my head, but I feel like you can shave away a lot of this trigger to actually make it more comfortable. However, you got to remember that the whole trigger is actually in the entire action, so you have to be very cautious with that. And then the only other complaint is the grip, because the grip's a little uncomfortable because of the trigger. But it's not a bad grip. I'm judging this too harshly because this is a sidearm. It's a dedicated sidearm. It's not meant to be a primary that you use for hours at a time. And then the only last complaint is it's kind of canted a little high, so you kind of have to aim this a little lower to get like an accurate shot. But overall, this is still an amazing sidearm. You all know me. The hammer shot is my absolute favorite blaster. It is my go-to sidearm, and it always goes with me to wars. But it accomplishes something very similar that this thing does. However, it takes a step away with this. Because with the hammer shot, it's a hammer action blaster, so you can use it with one hand. However, with that, you have to keep in mind that you have to prime and then fire. And the good thing about this one is you can just pull the trigger and that's it. And also, look at the size of this thing compared to the hammer shot. It's relatively the same size. However, if you get a nice holster for this and put it on your hip and treat it just as a sidearm to forget about, it's perfect. Because when I use a sidearm, I like to keep it in a good holster. on my hip and essentially forget about it while I'm just using my main primary. That's a really suitable role for this thing because I think some people are trying to bash on this thing a little too much. However, they're forgetting that this is meant to be a sidearm. It's not meant to be a primary. If you use this as a primary, your hands are going to get tired. And that's why I really think this thing will shine very well as a sidearm, like a designated sidearm to just put on your hip. So that is my review. Thank you so much for watching, Dude Bros. Much love, blast on, and stay technical.